nothing but truth. Listener lines are now open. 888-589-8840. 888-589-8840.
Welcome back. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth, proudly on AFR Talk. For the break, we talked about how the argument or the debate's being framed and some things you may not have known, like the House passing that resolution for the troops being paid. A lot of information out there, a lot of disinformation out there, scare tactics, the conflating of the debt ceiling and the continuing resolution. But how does it impact you? That's what I want to know. 1-888-589-8840. On a scale to 1 to 10, 1 being, not at all, to 10 being, I don't know what we're going to do, Crane. Fiscal cliff and everything else. Y2K all over again, man. All right. So tell me where it is for you. 1-888-589-8840. President Obama made this comment on Friday. It's B-22. And here he is. Listen to what he says about the reach of the federal government. Roll it.
The federal government has a large role across the country and touches the lives of millions of people, and those people will be harmed. And even the threat of a shutdown already is probably having a dampening effect on our economy. We saw that the last time these kinds of shenanigans were happening up on Capitol Hill. So to any Republican in Congress who's currently watching, I'd encourage you to think about who you're hurting.
And I would encourage you to hear about the fact that the federal government's involved that much in our lives. I played that for Seaton the other night because I knew he would tee off on that very phrase, and he was right on to do it. Ronald Reagan, number of speeches. You have an opportunity. I went back and was going to grab a few clips today, and I said, well, we've played those before. Perhaps maybe when we wrap it all up, we'll get some more clips from Reagan speaking out of government and what government does once it gets in. Closest thing to eternal life. But a wonderful inaugural address addressing the problem is government, as well as a whole host of other things. But the question now becomes, how does a government shutdown impact you? And on a scale to 1 to 10, here it is. 1, not at all. Actually, you're celebrating it. Maybe you're going to throw on an extra burger tonight. Say, yeah, this is what needs to happen. Government needs to shut down essential employees, et cetera. You know what the government shutdown truly is. 10 being, I don't know what we're going to do, and I am freaking out. On my knees praying. Well, you should always be on your knees praying, right? Well, at some point during the day, yeah. It's a good thing to do. Well, your own decision there, too. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. Now we move to the phones, and here we go. We begin with George in Michigan. George, great to be with you. Scale of 1 to 10, George. 1 being not at all, 10 being absolutely impacting me huge. How does the government shutdown impact you?
Well, I give it a 1, and I celebrate number 1, and I'll give you the reason why, Mr. Crane.
Yes, sir.
President Reagan shut the government down twice because he didn't like what Congress was passing to him, and it didn't affect him at all. The only people this is going to affect, really, are the Democrats, because the Democratic people in government are the ones that are going to be hurt most. American people aren't going to notice anything, really. So I think the Republicans should hold strong. They're not going to be affected by it.
Appreciate your referencing history, and it is great to be with you. Thank you so much, George. Take care. 1-888-589-8840. 1-888-589-8840. Scale to 1 to 10. And Reagan shut it down with Tip O'Neill. We're going to cover that next segment, actually. It's an extraordinary little piece of debate that took place on Meet the Press. You're going to love it. Here's the point. Government shutdown, if it does impact your life to the degree that they're attempting to tell us it does, is there something wrong? That's another question. But scale to 1 to 10 right now, how it impacts your life. And we go to the great state of Ohio. And Jason, welcome. Great to be with you. Tell me, 1 to 10. 1, not at all. 10 being a major impact on your life. Government shutdown. What does it do for you?
Can I ask one quick question before answering that?
Well, you can answer the question first, and then what's the question?
Just if the government shuts down, the essential parts of the government will still be open?
Yes.
Okay, so what's the point of non-essential government? And so on that, I would say,
Jason, you made my day with that one. And we're going to go over that in detail with Hans on the specifics. But it is a good question, and yet I look at those. This is what happens when you are thinking about people writing in and accusing you of all sorts of things, not being compassionate. And I apologize for even doing this. And then I'll let you answer because you've been so patient, my friend. Sorry.
Sure.
The point is this. I'm sitting there and I was about to say, that doesn't mean I dislike the workers that are non-essential. I know that they are vital in the lives of their families and they do things. Obviously, they're hired by the government, so they have. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, why do I have to say that? Isn't that a given? Or am I really saying the non-essential, as you just said, non-essential workers that are not vital to the task are, why do we even have them? The idea of even questioning that today seems that you're going to be accused of not being compassionate. And it's a ridiculous charge because it takes you away from the substantive question that you asked, which was what is needed in government and why and where the Constitution comes into play, certainly. Anyway, thanks for your patience, Jason. You tell me now, 1 to 10.
I would say -1. Shut it down and then figure out how to keep it shut down.
All right. Well, that is something where we look to strip back and pull back the government. You really can't do it. They had a great article in the Wall Street Journal today about getting a government program and how once healthcare is on the books, it only will grow, and we've seen that. And the other point to that is when you say shut it down, and you get accused of being an anarchist. Now, I really don't care what Harry Reid is going to say about me, but what I do understand is that he's going to have that repeated and repeated and repeated. And if you want to look at anarchy, take a good look at Occupy Wall Street. That's anarchy. You want to look at constitutional government, take a good look at the Tea Party. But I digress. We keep moving. And we go to, Virginia. Phyllis. Virginia, Phyllis, great to be with you. 1 to 10, Phyllis.
Hey, Crane.
Hey.
It's me again. Look, maybe a 2 for us, being my husband's drawing workman's comp. But you know what you said when it comes to Obama, that clip you played, that's why you call him the kettle black. He needs to think about who he's hurting.
Well, and not that you need me to tell you the flip side of the argument, obviously, which is I'm helping. See, I'm helping. I'm the elite. I'm helping you help yourself. Now we can take care of those 15% by destroying the 85%. We can do that when it comes to health care and choices because government should provide everything. We can. We've lost our human nature. We don't really subscribe to the idea of being reelected. We're not fallen. We know more than you because human nature has evolved. Oh, I just became a leftist. What happened? I'm possessed. Hey, thanks, Phyllis. Always great to hear from you. Want to go to Pat in Texas, then we'll hop on up to Louisiana and Texas as well. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. Hello, Pat.
Yes, I'm here. Hello.
Yes. 1 to 10. Pat, tell me.
I don't think it's going to hurt anybody. It's certainly not going to hurt me. Obamacare has already hurt me. My insurance has gone from $200 a month to $300 a month, and all of our paychecks of our Social Security taxes have gone from 3.2 or 2.2 to 4.2 or 4.6. Well, I probably have the numbers wrong, but they doubled. Anyway, and we're Medicare and Social Security cannot take care of the whole United States.
Interesting you say that, Pat. And Pat, thank you. And it was by 2 percentage points. Yes, you were right. And that was a temporary tax cut that actually I thought was going to continue because people would fight for it because any tax cut, but that didn't during the negotiations previous, and that's one of the taxes that was raised back up. But that's what happens when you deal with tax rates. You look at the impact of what it has, and it could be small, but it's not small. It's a percentage, and that's taken out. Ostensibly, that's supposed to go and be put in a lockbox. That's not true. So it's based on a Ponzi scheme, which is dishonest. But that all said, Pat, I saw a bumper sticker last night. Folks are having dinner with my folks. We go to this diner, and Catherine, my best half, and the kids, and I saw this thing that said Medicare for all or for nobody, in essence. I mean, Medicare for all. And this is the idea. The idea is I'm compassionate. I'm going to do it for all. And I think people need to really, when they put something on their car like that, you're not doing yourself a favor, because you're really saying Medicare for all. That would mean, okay, that the government would be administering that, and you're doing it with 16 trillion, 17 trillion. People are going to question, do you think 2 + 2 = 5? I mean, it really is said. And here's the thing. There's nothing compassionate about growing a government program that is going to lessen the quality of care and take the decision-making out of the patient's hands. There's nothing compassionate about that. Get beyond the slogan. Look at the reality. Paul Krugman, I know. I probably sound like Paul Krugman talking down to people. I'm not. Because I actually believe in the American people as opposed to government. Let's keep going. And we go to Judy in Texas. Judy, thank you very much for your patience. 1 through 10, Judy, tell me the impact of Obamacare, or excuse me, the impact of the government shutdown.
Listen, I am really happy about the government shutdown because it means that somebody is actually standing up against the people who are trying to spend so much of our money that we don't even have. I heard a statistic recently. I read an article by some major finance guy, and he said that in numbers that we can understand, our government spends 24 hours a day for every day of the year, 80 million borrowed dollars. And the people who are all out for this plan don't understand that we can't afford it. And they don't understand what it's going to do to everybody. And our insurance has already gone through the roof. And I don't see anything good coming out of it except for some people at the bottom that is going to ruin everything else. And one guy said, if you're worried that everybody's room in the house is not totally equal and decorated just as pretty, if the whole house burns, nobody's got a room. Anyway, I don't think it affects me at all, and I'm glad that they're doing it.
Judy, appreciate your point of view and the image that you gave, representation. Thank you, because it does speak to things. And when you said the people on the bottom, when we're dealing with the economic, those in extreme poverty who may, quote unquote, benefit from this, I would ask that a declining system for all would not benefit. It would overpack the rolls. And they're still not going to, they may have the insurance, but it doesn't mean they're going to get the health care. And that's the other part to this. It is going to be a disaster, and it already is. And how it plays out, let's look across the pond with the national health care system over in England. I mean, it is a two-tiered system, and they always talk about the haves and the have-nots. Well, they're creating it, and they're drawing the line and really hurting each and everybody. So many people they're trying to help, ostensibly trying to help. Tom, Louisiana, 1 to 10. Tom, what do you think? Tom? D. All right, we'll swing on back. Let's go to Dennis in Mississippi, 1-888-589-8840. Hello, Dennis. Tell me, 1 to 10. 1, not at all. 10, big time.
Well,
government
it's
shutdown.
Probably going to affect me about an 8 because my wife is a VA nurse practitioner.
Mm-hmm.
So she'll be working, but she won't be getting paid. But and I'm on medical disability, so we don't have that much income coming in other than her. But
so the delay is going to hit you. The delay is going to hit you.
It'll hit us, but I'm still for them standing up, and if it takes shutting down the government, let them shut it down. Because this is a economy killer. It's taking jobs away, and I mean, I haven't seen it this bad in a long time.
Tell me, was it this bad in '79?
No.
Yeah,
I mean, the economy's in the tanks right now.
Yes, it is, sir. And I got to tell you, I am sorry for the delay that you're going to be experiencing in getting the funds. And wow, the fact that you are saying, look, this is better for the country and have to go through. But make no mistake, that is something that when government has this much control over so much and is so irresponsible, when they get called on it, like what they did with the, what was the, oh golly, I want to say fiscal cliff, but it wasn't was it the fiscal cliff where, oh no, it was the sequester, the sequester, okay? And that was the deal, and they wanted to make it as painful as possible. And it's the nature of the government we have, government not being God, obviously, but attempting to play the role of daddy in our lives. And in a way, like a drug dealer, doping us up in so many ways. But when it comes to the vital programs that where government is and has made a promise to the people currently a part of things, but especially to our troops, that's the government's function. When I think of funding for the troops and I think that it's getting cut in some way, I'm a big believer in the defense budget. I think it should be much greater, in fact, because that is the job of government and also with the people involved. Now, when it comes to disability, that's something you've paid into and now it's coming back to you. So it's a promise that needs to be kept. And so when I hear that in your voice, please understand where I'm coming from. I also know that they are counting on as much pain as they can put in a government cutting back, they're going to, and they're going to manipulate it. Now, not necessarily in the case right here, right now, with the shutdown, but in the cases previous, we've seen that. So what does that tell you about a government doing that? It tells you they're very, very irresponsible with their power, and they're not interested in the betterment of America. They're actually interested in power itself. Really appreciate your phone call, Dennis. We'll put you in our prayers, and as well as your wife. Thank you for the service that she does. Plain Durham's Nothing But Truth. We've got, you'll want to hear that. Ashley Banfield goes toe-to-toe with Dana Rohrbacher next. AFR Talk.